RPA Today Show, hosted by Howze and Wilton Rogers. The show that brings you the latest insights on RPA, robotic process automation, and how it's impacting every industry, as well as interviews with companies that are currently winning big with this technology. You'll also hear from other industry leaders and experts who will be sharing some of their success secrets to help you become more productive and to grow your business. This show is brought to you by Simply Automate, where we help you get more done in less time and more ease for your mind with strategic business automation. Learn more at www.simplyautomateinc.com, and please follow us on LinkedIn. If anything in this show resonates with you, please let us know by leaving a review. The RPA Today Show, where you just might learn something you didn't know. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the RPA Show. We're here with another episode with my co-host, Wilton Rogers, the automation guy. Got a great guest today to talk about how RPA is impacted what they're doing, and also how maybe you can get some insight for your own business. You know, whenever you're watching something or listening to something that's educational or edutaining, you got to try to figure out how you can implement it. So hopefully by the end of this show, Wilton, we can give some nuggets away, some seeds away, folks can plant. Automation guy, how you feel today, my man?
I feel good, man. I feel good. It's definitely going to be filled with a lot of stuff today, for sure. Absolutely. But I feel good, man. How you doing?
I can't complain. I can't. If I did, no one would really listen. I'd probably bring somebody else down by doing so. So I'm just going to go ahead and talk about the good things. Michael Young's in the house in the virtual seat with us today, and he is doing some pretty phenomenal things with Photon Commerce. And I know you got something you're going to share, but I'm going to read a little bit about his bio, which you can find on LinkedIn. I'm going to read a little bit of his bio so you guys can get to know a little bit about Michael before he shares. So Michael is the CEO of Photon Commerce, AI for payments and invoices, okay? So he's passionate about empowering business leaders with the most impactful technology of our times, okay? Machine intelligence. We've invented a breakthrough computer vision and natural language processing technology that understands, classifies, captures, and reconciles invoices and receipts. At Photon Commerce, we've helped over 120 fintech and e-commerce businesses capture, watch this number, ladies and gentlemen, drum roll, 11 billion in invoices and receipts to accelerate commerce using machine intelligence. You have me at 11 billion. 11 billion. Is that a B?
It's a B, yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot of capturing, a lot of saving, a lot of smiling faces, Michael. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rob. It's a pleasure being here. Thanks for having me on the show. Good to see you again, Wilton.
It's great to see. I got to tell you, before we get into the story, I got to tell you the story and how Michael got here, like how we sort of like this took off. We do a lot, of course, we do RPA, we do a lot of automation, and we do a lot of invoices. One of our process that we're doing a lot of automation for is invoices. And what we do is we grab all this logic and we have to match it to every invoice, and then we have to develop it. So it takes us a while to do it, right? We do it, but we can do it. So if there's 100 vendors, we have to do 100. We have to build it design it out 100 times for each invoice, right? Because each invoice is different. So anyway, long story, there's a lot of variables. And then one day, one of our clients like, yeah, we could do that. You need to look into Photon Commerce. Like, who in the heck are they, right? So, and then so our David, which is our sales engineer, he's like, man, he goes, look into these guys. Let me show you the website. I look into the website. I was like, is that real? Are they really like? The scanning was just like, I was like, okay, can they really scan that fast, or is the video just doing it? So I talked to our CTO, our lead developer. I was like, how much time would that save you? He goes, oh man, that would save us as many invoices that we start doing. If we continue doing what we're doing, that's going to save us hundreds and hundreds of hours of development.
Unbelievable.
I was like, okay,
unbelievable.
We need to talk to this guy. Because it's going to save an automation company that much time to be able to, our developers, hundreds and hundreds of hours of just them developing things. we had to talk to them. So that's how we met, and now we're doing business together, man. They have an amazing service, man.
I think that's automation karma came back to us in a good way. We're helping so many others save so much time. The automation karma just kind of came back into our favor. We happened to look up and meet this gentleman here. Yep. Thank you, automation karma.
Yeah, it's a pleasure partnering with you guys. I'm excited for what's to come. We're very excited to disrupt RPA from the bottom up.
Yeah, Michael, and as a segue into like that, why don't you kind of share how you got here? Like maybe give us some bullets on how you got to this place in the road.
Sounds good. Well, back in the day, I learned how to code when I was 11 years old, and then built my first laser when I was like 18 years old. So I've been a huge nerd for most of my life, or for all my life. I dropped out of the Stanford PhD program, started my first company, raised about $5 million when I was 23 years old. And then we got a Series B round as well 2 years after that. So I led some advanced R&D programs with the Department of Defense, the Army, the Navy, and the National Science Foundation when I was just like 23 years old. Multi-million-dollar contracts there on some breakthrough stuff. And then we had an acquisition after that, started another company with a professor out of Stanford, and grew the company to over 100 people in just 2 years' time. We got funding from like Google AI and a number of other large industry players, and realized that AI is going to be the most transformative technology of our times. For our generation, right? So cars out there, right, can drive themselves, but why can't someone just find a way to read a receipt, right? Read my bill. One of the worst things ever is paying bills, right? So how do we make that suck less?
Yeah.
So every person in the world also, right, deals with payments. And if you dig into problems around payments, right, when you talk about like how a business pays another business, it's a horrible process. It's lots of manual steps and verification of your routing and account numbers and things like that. Why can't we make AI secure the invoice so that businesses can pay each other, right, and transact, collaborate, just like Venmo, right? And then why are credit cards so expensive? It's crazy, right? I can just as a friend transfer X dollars to you and it's totally free. So we found out that the whole payment space totally broken, right? Invoices, Microsoft and the Federal Reserve are saying 75% of invoices today in the United States are still manually processed, 75%. So we're like, why don't we make AI finally solve one of the biggest problems ever out there, right? Payments and then also language. So that's where those two areas. So yeah, that's a little bit about us.
Payments and language. Yeah. Oh my.
And I always say is if you go to their website and just go to their homepage, that video, it's like 15-second video. It's like, okay.
Tells you everything.
It tells you everything. It does, man. And then, doing what we're doing, that's just an add-on because we do a lot of automation before that. There's a lot of steps that we have to do. But that part is just a major headache, not only for the individual, but for us as developers too, to be able to do that part for any client. And to be able to just get a receipt, put it in your hand, take a picture of it, it scans it faster. And he was showing us a demo. I was like, all right. I said, okay, does that really happen that fast? Or is it recorded because they're thinking, no, that's really happens that fast. I was like, that receipt just got it. A human can't even do it that fast. Dude, it was pretty amazing, man. And just to be able to see what they're doing now, and we're testing it out, and we're doing our different things, and asking them questions, and they're coming back and doing things like, okay, it's so fun to watch them. But yeah, man, they're good. They're really good at what they do.
Michael, what would you say the biggest problem that you've been able to solve?
The biggest problem I think is around just payments. So in businesses, when businesses pay each other, it always has to originate from some sort of document that documents what you want to be paid for, right? So unlike in consumer payments where just walk up to the cashier and be like, yeah, I'll get a burger and fries, right? Just in businesses, you have to write down exactly what you want to be paid for. And that document is just, not standardized, right? So in the United States, we just have a free-for-all for standards. You can generate an invoice in QuickBooks or Microsoft Word, or your plumber will handwrite an invoice to you, right? So we're solving that problem where, we live most of our lives, right, to get paid. So payments is pretty important. We do a lot of things that we otherwise may not do, right? Because we live to get paid. So how do we make that entire experience totally streamlined, right? How do we become the next sort of like Venmo or PayPal, right? For businesses to collaborate.
Right.
And then when we dug further into that, right, we started working with some of the largest payments companies on the planet. And they were saying that, payments, that's kind of like a commodity, right? Processing a payment. What's really important is the data surrounding that payment, right?
Yep.
What exactly are you paying for, right? So lots of times you look at your bank statement, right? Your card statement, because you're supposed to look at that every month, because otherwise, people could steal your identity or, steal your credit card. Right. And then some crazy thing, right now is that if you look at your bank statement, it just says PayPal, Amazon, $500. And you're like, what the heck did I pay for? Yeah. Right? I don't really remember that. I don't recognize that. Right. I went to the bar, say last night, and they charged me $300. Like, I don't remember having that many drinks. Right.
That was a nice
exactly
beer.
What did I order? So that's exactly the problem that we're solving. Grabbing all the line items, the products, and associating that with every single payment. And it's actually totally crazy. Like in the payments industry right now, they're completely blind to what products people are actually buying.
Very interesting. Wow.
Yeah. So when we started talking to Visa, MasterCard, and some of the largest core processors, right, like Square and PayPal, they're saying this data, this product level data, the itemization is the holy grail of the industry.
Interesting. It is. Look at that, Wilton. You got a nice backdrop. How RPA is changing data. We're talking about data. Data is important, and understanding the data is even more important. Like, how are you using RPA to how are you leveraging RPA to optimize your performance and delivery of your services?
Yeah, we partner with some of the leading RPA companies out there, like you guys, as well as UiPath and other folks as well. We also have our own suite of APIs that do a lot of automation around document and payment workflows. It's highly customizable, and we work with small businesses all the way to giants, right, in the industry.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really cool just to even hear our guys talk about just the collaboration and conversations that they have, right? Because what we do, they work together hand in hand, right? And now that we're starting to partner up with partners like them, we're starting to see a huge difference. Like, okay, now we can attack this market a lot faster, a lot easier, and allow businesses to get benefits immediately, right? And that's the thing about it, is like, once you understand how technology can do that, it's crazy. You see these businesses all the time be like, wow, just blown out. They had no idea this is possible, and here they are. Now it's fully functional in their business, and it's fun to see. It can make it easier and easier for these clients. So
yeah, that's good. Wow. I wonder, if people begin to really understand how important it is to understand the data. I wonder if post-COVID we've gotten there. I really feel like we've all kind of evolved a lot faster post-COVID. We were already in the information age, and now we're in like the digital transformation era, because everything's kind of moving faster. Did you notice things picking up more? Oh, give me your thoughts on what the forecast is for people's awareness. I feel like people are waking up more. Is that what's been in your experience?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's been a very rude awakening, right, for many industries. When COVID hit, everyone started working from home. Delivery was everything, right? All commerce turned into e-commerce, right? You rely basically on, your FedEx and UPS, right, services to deliver the things that you need.
Yeah.
For companies that weren't yet in the cloud, right, they have to be in the cloud because all their employees are just working, all across the country and across the world. So we saw a radical shift of, legacy architectures going to the cloud. And obviously like RPA companies also, they wake up even more and need to accelerate, right, their migration into the cloud. And then we have also the emergence of, right, like the cryptocurrencies out there as well, blockchain. We saw them spike, and basically digital payments also, right, spike as well. It's a very interesting time out there. And then when we talk about, invoicing, expense management, things like that, we saw also, right, the new unicorns emerged, like Brex and Divvy, Ramp, right? So we saw a radical acceleration of digital transformation that was unprecedented. So, many of the unicorns out there told us they saw basically 3 years of acceleration in just 3 months' time, right, during COVID.
That's interesting. Yeah. Felt like that too.
Yeah. So, it's a very interesting time, and we're excited to be doing what we're doing.
That's awesome. I'm glad you brought that up, because Rob and I, we talked about this because Gartner came out with this, this market's going to grow X amount at this time within the next 5 years. And then post pandemic, or what do you want to call it, the new data came out saying it's a little bit faster. And I'm thinking, these guys don't realize how fast it really is, because like we're in the middle of the grind. Like we're in the middle. It's like, no, once these people understand it, it's going to go a lot faster, like way faster. And that gap was like, okay, the really understanding how to utilize these opportunities is the gap, right? But also the trust, because there's so many people, right? There's so much out there. People know they need to change. They need something like this for them, but they don't know who to trust, and they don't know how to get the right information for them.
Yep.
Right. Because it's like, okay, well, that won't work for me, because that only works for large enterprises, and I'm a small business. They're uneducated. You're like, no, it doesn't. Just because we showed you something on that level doesn't mean it can't work for you. So there's a lot of misunderstanding, right? But once they get past that, the immediate change is huge. Like it's instant. It's instant for these clients, because now they're taking full advantage and fully invested into the technology, into that trusted source too, but into the technology to help them really do whatever the heck they want to.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we're excited to partner with you guys. We see a unaddressed, I think, opportunity where conventionally a lot of RPA companies, they focus on very large businesses, but we see that a lot of small to medium-sized businesses also struggle with paperwork and automation. Many of the older RPA companies, you have to learn a new scripting programming language. And there's a pretty steep hurdle, pretty steep sort of learning curve to adopt, right, RPA. So we see that RPA infused with AI, you could basically, instantly be able to help even the smallest businesses, because you already have pre-trained models that work from day one, right? Just get up and running with RPA in under 5 minutes.
That's not
And I'll tell you, because no one knows it yet. We're obviously we're working with you now, and we're trying it and everything. We know what works, but we're just trying to figure out how fast we can get to market. So we're working with a one grocery store doing it, right?
Yep.
One grocery store, and this is old school grocery store, did everything by hand and manually, right? So like, okay, this is what we need to conquer, because we know we can do everything before that, right? We know we can, the easy ones that already sort of, have their stuff together, the paperwork together. We already know we can do that. Let's get this part and see how fast we can do that, right? Because these are the ones that are going to be missing out, don't have that help. Everything else we already sort of working out, so we're already moving those over and doing all that. But once we get this grocery store one done, mapped out, it's going to be a different story, because it's going to be a game changer once people understand how to use it. So yeah, we're definitely excited about working with you, man, partnering up with you, because this is exciting times, because unprecedented. It's never been done before, and we know that's like, okay, us doing this and bringing this into there's no way no one can really create this. First of all, it'll take them forever to do it, right? So like, okay, we have a model here that can really help out these business instantly. Now let's build it. Let's make sure it works, and it's actually price it to where they know that this is going to be a heck of an investment for them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The convergence of technologies. When you can converge the right technologies together, woo-wee.
It's over. Yeah,
it's over. Michael, what would you say to someone, because RPA is it's not new in the world itself, but new to the general mass, of the general population. So new, like less than 2% of small and medium-sized business owners even know that it even exists, right? And so when they hear about it, like, oh, they may hear some benefits, some features, or some things, but they're very apprehensive because they don't know about it. What would you say to someone, maybe help them with their apprehension about RPA? What would you say to someone who's on the fence about RPA to kind of maybe ease their mind a little bit?
I think RPA, it's best to boil it down to specific use cases and applications. RPA is a very general term, and it's a little bit arguably of a misnomer, because generally, right, robots are physical devices, right? Yeah. But in RPA, there's no actual robot anywhere, right? It's a software sort of automation bot. So I think we also educate the market with other sort of concepts that are specific to use cases. So we like to there's like similar terms like intelligent document processing, and a bunch of other terms as well. Those are, I feel, a little bit sort of overly fancy, a little bit sort of loaded. So we like to just say automated autonomous finance, or automated payments, or invoice automation, right? So picking like a specific workflow or use case, I think most people can understand the value a little bit better. So maybe it's on the if you're paying businesses or people versus getting paid, right, that workflow is completely different, generally speaking. So I think RPA is really like an umbrella term, right, for like hundreds of different potential use cases.
And it's funny you bring that. It's funny you bring that up, because in our conversations, we talk RPA, but when I'm talking to people that don't know anything, it's like, it's a invoice automation. We can automate invoice processing. What do you mean you can automate invoice processing? And we go into detail about what we can do. And they're, what is it called? By the way, it's called RPA, Robotic Process Automation, because we usually but you're right, they don't identify with it at all. So for us, it's like, oh yeah, we do invoice automation all the time. How do you do it? And that's when they have a conversation. So I definitely agree. I don't know who in the heck make up RPA anyway. I forgot who it was. I knew and I read a book about it, but that name should have been something different for sure.
That's good. Good advice. Good advice. Speaking of advice, Michael, you're coming in for a landing here. Why don't you give us and give the people and the listeners your best piece of business advice? What's your best piece of business advice you will give to a business owner, entrepreneur, or someone starting a business?
Man, that's a very broad question.
I know, right? It is.
Best business advice. I would say, never be complacent. Always be hungry. Always be asking tons of questions. Every day is a new learning opportunity. And just be extremely inquisitive. On everything. Never accept the status quo. Anything, anywhere could always be improved. That's how our ethos is. I was trained as an engineer, right? Scientist, like a physicist, and everything. You could also boil it down to questions, fundamental principles, like even for instance, like in science, right? There's general like principles, but if you just ask basic questions like why is there gravity? How does gravity work? No one really knows, right? So just questions all around, and never just accept things the way that they are.
That's awesome.
I like that. That's good advice.
If people want to reach out and try to find you, where's the best place for them to find you, to know more about you and your business?
They are welcome to reach out on our website. We have like a calendar link there, so you can get real-time basic access to my calendar or one of my teammates' calendars. So that's like even better than just shooting us an email, right? Just book a meeting right away. You can also reach us at hello@photoncommerce.com. And I will also monitor that inbox, and I love meeting new folks. And you'll reach me on LinkedIn as well.
Well, that's awesome, because if you reach out to them and you just sit down and talk to them 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you're gonna be blown away. Like, honestly, it's just a fun conversation, because you learn so much in that time, and me being so involved in automation, and to have something like this, I'm like, oh my goodness, so as a business owner, and I'm not looking at it just as us as for our business, but I'm looking at what it could do for any business, right? And it's good to understand and have a conversation. So reach out, go to his website, book that meeting, and just have that conversation so you get insight, because it's unreal. And it's free. It's like you get insight like this from a guy like this. Like, dude, it's free.
It's gold.
People free pay gold. For this. People pay for this.
I'm about to say free gold, man.
To have me speak about this, and you get it for free.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like crazy. People need to take advantage of it, man. So awesome. That's pretty cool. So, well, thanks for being with us, man. I really appreciate it, man. And we're excited to be working with you and partnering up with you. And this is going to be a first of many conversations we have, I'm sure, podcasts that we have with you.
First of many. Mr. Michael Young, CEO of Photon Commerce. Thank you for being on the RPA Show, my friend.
All right. Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Wilton.
And thank you all for listening. Until next time.